The best makeup of 2023 high-end edition. So I've been working through my end of the year wrap up. You just saw my favorite drugstore favorites of the year. You have also seen my worst of the year. If you haven't, I will leave the playlist link down below. But today it is time for us to discuss the best high-end makeup that I tried this year. So just like my drugstore video, if I don't have a favorite in one category, we just skip it. And then some categories, maybe I have more than one favorite. I just like to include my tip-top favorites, whether there is one per category or not. These were like my absolute tippy-top must-haves of the year. I'll tell you what though, if you watch my stuff, I'm like curious how many of these you can guess because I'm like a broken record with some of these, starting with my favorite foundation of the year. This is my empty one. This is my brand new one. I'm wearing it right now. I am obsessed with the Tarte Shape Tape Cloud Coverage. I wear the shade 20B Light Beige. It is a really great shade match for me. This consistency, it's a bit thicker than I would typically gravitate to for a foundation. So the first time I tried it, I was like, I don't know about this. Like, it almost has not a moussey texture, but it is like a fluffy whipped thick texture, similar to something like the e.l.f. Camo CC or the IT Cosmetics CC cream, but so much better than both of those. Like, this has the most natural finish on the skin. I feel like I'm constantly shouting from the rooftops about this, how it is just the most underrated foundation. I don't know why it doesn't get more attention because it is such a gorgeous finish. It has SPF 15 in it, which, I definitely don't rely on my foundation to be my sun protection, but I do always love an extra bonus, like a little extra layer of sunscreen. Always an exciting thing for me. Truly cannot recommend this highly enough. The coverage, it's like medium buildable. You could get it a little more sheared out if you use less, or you definitely could build it up. And then even the finish, I feel like it can be really easily manipulated to something more mattified with powders, or you could go mega glowy with like a dewy base. Like, this serves every purpose I ever want. I wouldn't want to do this, but I could get rid of every single foundation that I own and keep just this one, and I don't feel like I'd be missing out. Like, I love it so much. My favorite concealer of the year, say it with me, was the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam Concealer. I just did not stop using this the entire year. I did not stop talking about this the entire year. I remember saying even in a video recently, like, I'm gonna try not to mention this again until my end of the year favorites video. But that is like such a challenge for me to do because this is just the best concealer I have ever used. It is so high pigment that even while being a thinner consistency, it still has phenomenal coverage, but it does not look cakey. It's very smooth, like one of the most smoothing formulas I've found on my under eyes. And I'm a drugstore girly. I love my drugstore concealers. Like, for me to be so excited about a $30 concealer, like, I will repurchase this the second it's gone. I cannot be without this. I have the shade N4, and if you're around my skin tone, I think N4 is a really nice match for being like the same color. If you want your concealer to be brighter and you're around my skin tone, I would go for a lighter shade, but this is just such a good formula. The only downside, something about the cap, I don't know. They could rework the packaging here because it gets a little bit globby around here, and it didn't happen right away, but now that I've had this like forever, it's starting to get a little bit messy, but I don't care. That is a small price to pay for the best concealer I've ever used. Like, I love this. I don't know if I'll be able to find something I like more than this. We'll see what 2024 can bring, but I don't see that happening. Okay, we have a repeat favorite here, and I was like, do I mention this again? But I have been so dedicated to this cream bronzer in 2023 that we have to talk about it. It is the Merit Bronze Balm. So this is all that I have left at this point. I'm sure I will use this up in 2024. We'll see. I don't know. I'm normally not even a stick bronzer person because I find a lot of them just disrupt my foundation. This is one of the few that I can just draw directly on my face and not have any issues. That being said, my preferred application is still a brush. So I take this and just draw it directly onto my brush and then stipple it in. This color is perfect, but not too orange, not too cool toned. Like, it really effectively mimic sun on the skin. It's dewy without being like sticky balmy. You know, sometimes cream products, I find like my hair and stuff is getting stuck to them. I don't want to deal with that. This I feel like sets down, but it still has that glowy essence to it. It's just so good. I can't recommend this highly enough. Like, this was a carryover, and I really try not to do that in my favorites videos, but this one I'm like, oh, we have to talk about it again because I loved it last year and I feel like my love for it has only grown in 2023. So this is just the best ever. A couple of powders. You know what? Let's start with this one. The pink powder from Jones Rhode is a magical product. I'm pretty sure I told this story in another video where I was at dinner with Kaja and she was like, your under eyes right now literally look filtered. Like, it looks just flawless airbrushed. And I'm like, oh, that's the Jones Rhode pink powder. I take this and I use a puff. Just get a little on the puff, you know, really work it into the product. I like tap it out on the back of my hand and then push it into the under eye. It is flawless. It is like the most, it's matte, but it doesn't look like dry matte. You know what I mean? It just looks like, how did your skin get so perfected? Where did your pores go? Funny enough though, I have the translucent version as well. And I like this one, but this is not as big of a standout to me as the pink. Like, my love for this is this shade in particular. I think the way that it kind of morphs in and becomes one with your blush, like it gives you this really smoothed out look that just kind of combines everything in the most natural way. It's stunning, but I don't even think the pink pigment translates like too strong on the skin. At no point are you like, girl, you have pink on your under eyes. You know what I mean? It just kind of livens up the face. They do also have a deeper pink shade that I believe is called Rose. So if you have a deeper skin tone and you think this would be far too light, that could be an option to try. I just think this powder is so good. I cannot be without it. I love this stuff. My second favorite powder, if you didn't want to go for a tinted powder, let's talk about this one from Sigma. That being said, the Jones Rhode is still like my top spot. Like this, I didn't even know powder could look that perfected on my under eyes. This one though, phenomenal. So this is called the Soft Focus Setting Powder. I have mine in the shade Vanilla Bean, and this feels so velvety to the touch. The Jones Rhode one, I would say, feels like a powder. This is so finely milled that it doesn't look powdery, and like it just like it's velvety, it's buttery, like all the really overused words I think so accurately describe this formulation. Actually, the powder that I have on today, it just looks like filtered on the skin. It is phenomenal. I do have a code with Sigma if you want to use it on this or anything on the website. It is KELLYG. This powder, cannot stop using. A bronzer favorite. This one, say it with me. Again, I feel like a lot of these you're like, girl, we know. The Fenty bronzer. First of all, can we talk about the pan that I have on this? Like, I'm going to be done with this soon. This is the shade Inda Sun. And if you have fair skin, this is like the answer. I feel like I have such a hard time, and I'm not even like so super fair, but I still feel like finding a bronzer that's not too orange can be tough. So if you struggle to find one that is light enough for you, this is one of the lightest bronzers that I've found. This blends in perfectly. It is so effortless. I have this on today, but I am also wearing my Makeup Revolution bronzer a little bit, the cream bronzer. So I did that first, this on top. You can tell though, I can't stop using this. It is the best bronzer ever. Like once I use this up, immediate repurchase. I don't think I can live without this bronzer. That sounds so dramatic, but like doing my makeup without it, no thank you. I will immediately repurchase it. And I feel like that day is coming soon. That pan is getting bigger and bigger. Okay, for blush, this is a repeat, but it's not. So let me explain. So it's the Bare Minerals Blonzer. You've heard me talk about the Bare Minerals Blonzer over and over and over since it launched in 2021. But my obsession has always been with the shade Kiss of Pink. Until recently, when I got Kiss of Copper, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I kind of love both of these, but for very different purposes. Kiss of Copper, I mean, it's the same purpose. They're both blushes, but hear me out. Kiss of Copper that's actually what I have on today, but I layered it. So first I have on Persona Georgia, which is a peach, and then I did a little bit of Kiss of Copper also. But I feel like I took Kiss of Copper more on the perimeters. I've got it up from my forehead and everything. This shade, I think, more effectively like works as a blush / bronzer. You know, that's the concept of this line, Blonzer. It's supposed to be what am I saying? why am I getting so confused? Bronzer and blush. But the shade Kiss of Pink, I would never try to bronze with. It is very much a pink. Kiss of Copper definitely has more of that like brown copper tone to it. So I feel like you can do more of that effect with this shade in particular. Funny enough though, I think the finish on these is a little bit different. This is more of a matte finish, whereas this has a lot more glow to it. This one is like very pigmented. So these oddly are kind of different from one another, but this shade I find myself using so much. If you're into like the 90s brown blush type of shade, this is perfect for that, especially pairing it with like a brown lip. Oh my gosh, it's the prettiest combo. So love this formula. I love that they expanded the shades this year as well. Kiss of Copper was one of the original shades, but now they have a bunch of new ones and I can't stop loving this formula. I have loved it since it launched and it was another favorite for me again this year. Unsurprisingly, no highlighter favorite this year. Also though, I didn't really feel like I had a high-end eyeshadow favorite this year. So many days, like if I really were to do high-end eyeshadow favorite, I would be like, oh, it was the Fenty bronzer because I wore this as eyeshadow so many days in 2023. I did talk about 2 eyeshadow palettes in the drugstore video. So if you missed that, check out the playlist. I feel like I was reaching for those more than my high-end ones. Today I'm wearing Natasha Denona Glam, which, I've had for a while, but I feel like I've been loving that lately. It's like a older favorite I've been revisiting, but there were no new like 2024 high-end eyeshadows that I felt needed to be in the video. But with lip products, let's talk about this lip stain. This year I feel like was really big for me for lip stains. I fell in love with so many, and specifically this formula from Kaja. So this is their jelly lip stain. It comes with a little charm, but I didn't keep the charm on here. You could though, it's cute. But specifically this like deeper brown shade, I have it on today and it ends up being the base for so many of my lip looks. So especially if I'm having a whole day or like I'm going out at night and I know I'm gonna be out for a while, if I need longevity from a lip, I'm always reaching for this to be my base because it leaves behind the most beautiful like brownish stain. And then you can layer your other lip products on top and it's not gonna go anywhere. Like even once the other lip products fade, the stain will be left behind. The lips look perfect all night. There were also so many days that I reached for this as a lip liner. So I would take some sort of like a lip brush or precision brush, just pick it up and then apply it to my lips as a lip liner. And then you have one that's not gonna budge. So love, love, love this formula. Speaking of lip liner, that will transition us into these, the Jones Rhode lip liners. I am normally such a drugstore lip liner girly, but these from Jones Rhode I reached for so frequently in 2023. And I noticed they just added new shades to these. So I have one on right now actually with the Kaja. So the shade I'm wearing currently is Nude Rose. These wear so well. They are creamy to apply, but they're stiff enough. Sometimes with high-end lip liners, a lot of them I find are just too creamy. Like for example, I don't love the ones from Persona or from Charlotte Tilbury. I think of those formulas pretty similarly where they're so creamy. I rarely get a defined lip line. You know what I mean? It's just like too much. This I feel like is stiff enough, but it's not so stiff that it feels dry or dragging. It's effortless to apply, but I have the precision I need. It wears well. I love the shades. I feel like this one is just always in my purse. Somewhere. I'll be looking like, oh, where are my Jones Rhode lip liners? I'll have to be going through all the purses I've used recently because it's at the bottom of one of them. Okay, we've got to talk about the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm. I feel like this is going to be in so many end of the year favorites. These were super duper hyped up in 2023 and I think for good reason. I adore this formula. Don't get me wrong, it is a splurge for a lip balm for sure. I don't think you need to spend this price point to get a nice hydrated lip product, but if you want to treat yourself, I think these are fully worth the hype. They are like slightly tinted so you can choose a different shade. And it's kind of like you're getting the hydration that you want from a lip balm, but they kind of wear like, a lip gloss. Like you get that effect where the lips are really glossed up. You have a tint of color. I just think it's an incredible product. I get why so many people love them. High recommendation. This is random, okay? But the Lash Separator from Grande Lash, I've been obsessed with. Now, it doesn't even have to be this one from Grande Lash. I know you can find other like very inexpensive lash separators. The only call out I will make is you want to get one that is like metal like this. I find sometimes with like a plastic spoolie or something like that, those do not separate my eyelashes. I need something like this to really effectively comb through them. This, oh my gosh, you could take the clumpiest mascara in the world and you just go right through it. Your eyelashes look perfect. This like truly is the answer to having super separated lashes, regardless of the mascara formula. Even like some of my favorite mascaras, I still like to go through with this because even if my lashes aren't clumped up, this still separates them, and the separation leads to it being more fanned out and just looking like I have more eyelashes than I do. It's just phenomenal. Like, this is a game changer. A skincare favorite. I fell in love with the Skin Glazing Milk from Rhode this year. This definitely got very hyped up this year, but again, for good reason. This is like such a nice, milky, hydrating serum. Well, essence. I feel like in general, I've been a lot more into essences for my skincare. I'm always super focused on hydration. I have very sensitive skin, so anything that's gonna add moisture back in, keep my skin like dewy and plump, those are my best friends. And the way my skin just drinks this right up, the hand with it, the hand without it. And I feel like a little bit goes a long way. I use this every night, and I would say, from what I can see, I think I'm about here. So I still have so much of this left, and I use it so frequently. Some fragrance favorites this year. I am such a gourmand girly. I like anything very like edible like that. So the Sol de Janeiro number 40, it got me. There's a reason this is so hyped up. I'm so glad I picked this up. Also this year, I picked up 68, which is fine. It's very similar to like Cloud or one of those scents. But 40 is the one that I'm most in love with, okay? As a vanilla girly, this is such a complex take on vanilla. I think this is just like delectable. I wear this so often. It is one of my most complimented fragrances. And for being a body spray, I think the wear time on this is also really great. This is the smaller size, and then they do have an even larger one, but for being the smaller size, I think this is still a pretty significant size and a good amount of product. And again, I feel like I wear this so much, and I've used about that much of it, you know? This one, I don't even think you need a ton. Sometimes with body sprays, I feel like I need to drench myself. No, I think this has pretty good projection, even for being a body spray. Another fragrance that I almost could have put in the drugstore video, but I still think this is like high end, but it's definitely not as expensive as most perfumes. But the Vanilla Mod fragrance from Ariana Grande's brand this year is so, so good. This one I have used, I believe, more than half of this already. These give me similar vibes too. I don't think they're like so close that I don't recommend having both. You know what I mean? Like, there are some fragrances where I'm like, oh, these are too similar, get one or the other. These I don't think are too similar, but they're similar enough where if you like this, you're probably gonna like this, and vice versa. The first time that I smelled this was when we were on the Charleston trip this year, and Lauren May Beauty was wearing this, and she like stepped out of her room in the house, and I was just captivated by it. I was like, what are you wearing? You smell incredible. Like, whatever it is, I need to have it. And she was like, oh, it's the new Ariana Grande perfume. Immediately when we got home from the trip, I bought it. I wear it so often. I wish the wear time on this was better. And I have a bunch of other perfumes for her. Weirdly, that's kind of hit or miss. Like, for me, Cloud wears really well, but then I have REM, and this one kind of fades. So for me, it kind of depends on the fragrances from the brand. But this one, I don't think has the longest wear time. So I will call that out. This is one I will like throw in my purse to touch up. Like, literally, I'll throw this whole little egg thing in my purse. But it's worth it because I'm obsessed with this scent. Also, we have to talk about the Glamnetic press-on nails. I've been obsessed with press-on nails for a while now. I just feel like it's such an inexpensive way to always have like salon quality nails. The set I'm wearing right now is from Quickies. This was their collab with Rudi. I love these nails. I've gotten so many compliments on these, let me tell you. But my tip-top favorite nails for a while now have been Glamnetic. I just find not only do I love the designs of these, but I also feel like the shape really fits my nail well. And I think it kind of ends up being trial and error. Like I think it depends. I have friends that have other press-on nail brands that are their favorites. It almost depends. Like we all have kind of different nail shapes. So some might work better or worse for you. But for me, let me tell you, these nails are like my best friend. I will wear my Glamnetic nails for a couple weeks at a time. Normally 2. I keep them on for 2 weeks and then I try to take them off, but I'm telling you, if you use their glue, like it will last longer than that. And you can reuse them. I went like super in depth in a video I can leave link down below, but these were a huge favorite for me this year. I do also love Olive and June. I like Static. I love the Lottie London nails. Like don't get me wrong, there are a lot of nail brands that I do like. The Quickie nails, fantastic. But the ones I feel like I had on my fingers the very most in 2023 that deserve the biggest shout out, Glamnetics. Also, I've just been shaking these around the mic, so I hope you enjoyed the ASMR of these nails. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.